in a sense, I have more than one mentor.
Wow! It was such a like dumb mistake.
Hi, it's Esty. My eye, oh my god, look. I think I have a sty on my eye. I think I rubbed it when I was like sweaty the other day. I have this. I get like a freaking pimple. It's only like once a month, once in a while I would have something like this. Hormones, man. The reason why I have a hat on is because I go on morning walks and like I like to kind of just, I don't know, enjoy the nature since I'm always stuck here in the same seat every day. The air is crisp, the birds are chirping, the sun is rising. I don't know, I feel very rejuvenated and more productive for the day too. I thought I would do kind of like a follow-up for month 2 at DesignLab. The second month is when I finished my phase 1 at UXA. I had to change my student status right after my first month pretty much. While I do like to spend most of my week dedicated to UXA, I also like to incorporate networking events, guest speaker events, like meetups and things like that. So, or even just reading books on my own, dedicating different times, not just solely on UXA's course, kind of gives me a better understanding of the UX process, I feel like, and it gets me more excited to get into this field because I'm learning from other platforms, kind of looking at UX outside of a bootcamp program. I feel like I'm also understanding what the market is like right now just from hearing current designers' struggles or what the trends are now, and especially with this time of COVID, there is still hope. I think I really liked this one UX designer who has a YouTube. His name is Locke. I really enjoy listening to his talks, and I kind of just play them throughout my walks as if I'm listening to a podcast. He should really have a podcast. I love his down-to-earth attitude and just overall personality. I just really enjoy hearing him, and there was a recent live talk that he did on YouTube. Like I made a lot of notes from his talk. Someone asked him, what do you think the post-pandemic situation would be for UX? He said, I think for designers, the post-pandemic is going to benefit us because more companies will go online. As more things and more people, aka consumers, go back online, this calls for more opportunities. So if anything, this COVID thing is going to help UX and UI designers. Everybody is in the digital space or wants to be in the digital space now. But right now it's a little uneasy because companies are probably needing to cut some fat and realize directions needed to be taken in the future. So basically he's saying that companies right now are realizing that they need to get online more, and so they're adjusting. And once they figure it out and have adjusted, it lead to more investment for resources to their online infrastructure, and that will lead to a boost in hiring. So maybe next year around this time, when a lot of things die down, because he said that a lot of things are political right now too, companies will have a better understanding of where they exist in this COVID culture. So what do we do now, right now, as new UX designers? He gave a really great advice where he said right now it's not a great time because companies are pausing due to government announcements and financial situations, etc. But take this opportunity to grind and re-up your archive. So rework on your projects if you already have any. If you don't, then focus on personal projects. Like, this is the prime time to really find your niche. Like, wow, that just kind of gives me more hope that right now what I'm doing is okay. I still get like uncertain and I still have anxiety, like they come in waves, and I've heard from speaking to other designers that that's never fully gonna go away. I feel like every time, like once in a while, you like designers just will feel this imposter syndrome. Anxiety, I think, will always be there. It's a matter of how you use and perceive that anxiety. I'm just learning to see anxiety as like a catapult to motivate you and to just improve.
I'm just gonna keep trying.
I'd highly recommend anyone to kind of just go through his YouTube videos. If you can't find a mentor, a personal mentor, then look for other mentors in different avenues. You have to realize if you really want something, you have to go for it and search for it. Like, nothing's gonna be completely mouth-fed to you, but if I can do it, you can do it. So look for other avenues. If you don't have a personal mentor, then you can use books, you can use like other YouTubers like Mike. He's really good. I've been listening to podcasts. I do have a mentor at UXA. My mentor is kind of like a professor at a university. And it's not like I'm buddy-buddy with my mentor. It's more just like he reviews what I've been doing and gives me very clear and concise, thorough explanation of what I need to do next, which I really appreciate. But questions something like, how is the current situation going to affect us designers in the future? Or what do you think? That kind of stuff, I feel like if I can get that from other people and other designers, then I just want to utilize the time with my mentor at UXA for him to actually go over my process and my design skill sets. And that kind of external conversation I think can happen once in a while with him. But for the most part, I've been very satisfied with getting that knowledge or getting that opinion from other platforms. I mean, you just reach out to people on LinkedIn and I feel like you get different insights from other designers as well. In a sense, I have more than one mentor. In a talk with a community called ADPLIST, which I also recommend, they also have these like speaker events, and they do like after hours or portfolio reviews together, and it's such a fun community. I really recommend that community too. It's just, I don't know, it gives you like this young, like trendy vibe that you would just want to be excited for. And so I joined a few of their talks. I really like the recent one with an influential designer named Chris Do, and all of their events are on Zoom, so anyone can join and sign up. It's completely free.
Yay for free events!
He described what I said about if you don't have a personal mentor, then look for other things, and he called those other things like heroes, basically. Like, you can also find your own hero, and I agree with him 100%. I realize that I'm also learning a lot, just not being so reliant on this one mentor. I kind of got off tangent here, but throughout the week I like to dab in different things, and so networking and reading books or even just learning about UX from other people, it's almost another like part-time thing that you don't really think about because it kind of consumes a lot of your time as well. I kind of like to understand the bigger scope of what today's market is like in UX, what designers think of the future, where UX will be, what the trends are, and also building relationships with other designers. I guess now I'll explain what I did within UXA. Okay, so since I transitioned from full-time to part-time, I was like a little confused with what week I was on. The coursework that I've done so far up until I was full-time, I was technically about 2 weeks ahead of their regular part-time schedule. I was ahead of other part-time students in my cohort because I was a full-time student. So for this video, I think I'm just not gonna refer to like exactly like which week I was on in the course plan. Since my mentor is so organized, as soon as I switched to my student status, he basically gave me like a full rundown of what to expect for each call. So I had 4 calls left. With my last 4 calls, they were call number 9, 10, 11, and 12. So by my 9th call, I had to finish my responsive UI designs. As a reminder, for my first project, I'm doing Mirror, which is a shopping website. And by my 9th call, I should have made my website responsive in 3 separate platforms. So responsive meaning making sure that your site is usable on different devices, such as a desktop, a tablet, and mobile. After I created my website into those 3 responsive designs, I would move on and just focus on my desktop version to create the rest of my high fidelity wireframes. And high fidelity meaning that I have a general UI kit ready by now. And a UI kit focuses on your color palette, typography, your icons, basically anything that's like visually aesthetic for your website. And you create kind of like, you could just create like a brief like general overview for your UI kit, kind of something that you would see or you would post for your portfolio under your case study. My mentor also mentioned that you should create another one that's a little bit more detailed, that has all of your UI elements. For like that real work setting, you should create 2 versions. One for your portfolio, kind of like a brief overview, and one for like reference that has all of the elements. And I also had to create a plan for my usability testing. So for all of that, it was a lot, but like I think it's easy when you focus on your task flow. By the end of the first month, I've already created that task flow and user flow. And to create my high fidelity wireframes, aka like knowing what page to create, I focused on what my task flow was. So my task flow was to buy a black dress on sale. So I just kind of followed other competitor websites of what it takes for me to check out and buy a black dress. It also gives you an insight of how to plan for usability testing. How they did the padding and grid format, I referred to other websites as well and saw design patterns out of it. I had to be reminded that you have to look for design patterns on all of the websites and see what the patterns are, not just focus on which website you like and want to replicate.
I just need to be more mindful.
By my 10th call with my mentor, I had to finish my usability testing and gathered my findings, presented it to him, and also I presented my affinity map. I've learned that my affinity map, which I still have it here on my wall, I am a little hesitant to get rid of it since I'm not done with my project, and so I don't want to technically erase all that work. If you saw my last video, then you've seen the referenced image as an example of what it should look like, and that's the picture that my mentor showed me. And so going forward, I will do better. Call number 11 was where I presented my prototype with all of my priority revisions of my high fidelity wireframes. It was a call where I didn't really talk much. I thought I would have to like, I don't know, explain my high fidelity wireframes, but instead no, he just told me like, oh, send me the InVision link. Since I make all of my work on Sketch, I used InVision as my prototyping tool, and he just told me to send him the InVision link, and I did. And he also told me that during that call, I don't try to defend my work at this time because, you know, since it's my first time doing a project, trust his guidance in that sense. And I mean, he has more experience than me, so why wouldn't I trust him? So I was like, okay, yeah, like I won't, my mouth is shut, like just criticize my work, like trash on it if you want. I have a note, I have my notes, I have my pen, like I'm ready. So for that whole hour, he went over all of my wireframes and he told me exactly what I needed to do. Yeah, I made also like very elementary mistakes.
It was such a like dumb mistake.
Like for example, like I knew that in your layout settings you have your grids, and I heard that responsive design is actually something that a lot of designers still struggle with. And so my mentor, he sent me a link to this like Bootstrap grid, helps you with designing responsive websites. I could link that in the description below because it helped me. The only thing that I was kind of confused and it was kind of tedious with using that guide was that you can't copy and paste it right away. In that grid example, you have to physically create like your own rectangles following it. So for example, it's like there's that center template, right? And you have to actually create rectangles following it, outlining that. I'm supposed to use it as a guide, but I ended up not putting like this one section in the padding area, not on the actual column. And I showed it to him and it looked like this, and he's like, no, don't look. He's kind of like, you don't, no, 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 no. And I'm like, oh, when he pointed that out, I was like, I knew that, but I don't know why I made such a silly mistake. So I was very grateful that he pointed that out to me. I'm pretty sure he pointed out like every detail that I messed up on, which was great. Yeah. Check your grids, man. Check your layout settings. Check everything if it's aligned. It's such an easy mistake. And I think it's also scary how easily it can be overlooked. After he went over that, he also briefly mentioned the spec tool assignment that I did by that call too. Usually the engineers would decide what spec tool they want to use to communicate with you in terms of like knowing exactly the specs of your designs so that it helps them. I've researched that Zeppelin is a very popular tool And so I've just kind of wrote about like why I prefer Zeppelin. It's compatible with Sketch. It's the most popular from what I've researched online. Really no complaints, Zeppelin. But yeah, so that's call number 11. So for call number 12, I'm presenting my case study. And while I'm presenting my case study, I also have to have my UI kit finished. Like I mentioned before, you create like a brief version, and then you have to create a more like in-depth version that has all of your UI elements. I just need to create a presentation that's around 20 to 30 minutes long. This week I'm planning to first fix all of my wireframes that he told me to fix.
I have a lot of things to fix.
And by the final phone call, finished my case study and present it. I'm pretty sure we're gonna play like roll call where he's like a stakeholder or a client and I'm presenting it to them. Yeah, like my plan for this week is to utilize today to fix all of my high fidelity wireframes, and then tomorrow I'm going to finish updating my UI kit and also start organizing a presentation for my case study. I'll hopefully finish by Wednesday morning, so I can use the rest of the day on Wednesday to practice my presentation because my call with my mentor is on Thursday morning. So that's my general plan. And after this week, I'm pretty sure I'm going into phase 2.
Wow!
That's crazy. I did it! I did my first project. I'm excited. I've seen other students works for phase 2 because it's available online for other students to see. When you start phase 2, they kind of get you into creating your own portfolio at this point, and you buy your domain for your website, create your own personal logo, and yeah, that sounds exciting. I am planning a vacation in the next few weeks, hopefully in mid-September. So I will be requesting for a break. As a student, you can request for around 2 breaks that are week long each. You can choose to take both at the same time. The only thing is that you can't split your week-long break. So if you decide to go on a break, you have to take the full week. And some students have used that week to catch up on their coursework, and I've heard a lot of students in the full-time track actually do that. But for me, I really need a vacation. I feel like I haven't gone on a vacation in this entire quarantine time, and of course I'm gonna go somewhere where like it's safe, away from the city, away from people. I'm planning on going camping, just away from city life.
I'm excited. I'm looking up a lot of like hiking trails.
If anyone was wondering about like if DesignLab does anything for COVID situations, they do. It's all based on individual like case by case scenarios. I think you get up to like a month off. And that does not affect your status as a student. They try to be completely understanding, is what I've heard. But for just like on regular basis without COVID, you get 2 weeks off and you can choose whenever you want them off. I don't know what else to talk about. Oh, I've also seen some people DM me on Instagram or on LinkedIn. How are you guys finding me on LinkedIn, by the way? Like, I find that really interesting. Okay, but anyways. Yeah, it's really cool to connect, just to kind of hear what your situations are. Even if it's not the same situation that you're experiencing with them, the anxiety is still there, the uncertainty is still there, and it's kind of nice to know like you're not alone, like we're in this together. So be hopeful, be okay. Again, like just do you, just be consistent. I really enjoy practicing daily habits, and so find something that you enjoy and that helps you de-stress. I think that's really important, hence my morning walks, and utilize that time as a time for you. I really encourage mental health during this time. That's so important, especially with everything going on. You are investing in yourself, you're doing something really great, and you're gonna be okay. Okay? So I'm telling this to myself as I'm sharing it out loud. You're gonna be okay, and keep going, keep pursuing. Every day is a new day is what I tell myself. I wake up, look at the sky, look at the sun, and I tell myself every day is a new day. So don't forget to look up and be hopeful and stay positive.